Good morning, St. Louis, and welcome into the Randy Karraker Show featuring Brooke Grimsley on STL Sports Central, brought to you by our friends DraftKings Sportsbook, where the crown is yours. If you're playing our Pick 6 game with DraftKings, make sure you use your promo code STL Sports. Play $5, get $25 in bonus picks. Play right now. Again, code STL Sports. I'm Matthew Rocchio. That's Joe Roderick. You might notice that neither of us are Randy Karraker nor Brooke Grimsley. We apologize. We'll get you at 50% right tomorrow when Randy Karraker returns from jury duty for the show with Brendan Schaefer tomorrow morning. Joe, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for stepping in.
Absolutely. I'm excited. You know, it's not 120 degrees outside.
It's lovely.
We got college football to look forward to this weekend. So.
Well, Big 12 and the Big 10 played.
Texas, Ohio State.
I'm just messing around. I know.
It's going to be a nice little Saturday.
I was talking about this past week when I watched Kansas State and Iowa State, that barn burner in over in Ireland. It was a fantastic game. Rocco Becht keeps on dominating. I know Anthony's happy.
The only thing that I kind of got from that, first off, they don't know how to line fields.
No, they don't. Bad paint
over there. That was number one.
I learned this week that English paint is shitty.
And then the second thing that I took away from that is that Avery Johnson is, the family issues that Avery Johnson seems to have, the quarterback for Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
That's an SEC type problem right there.
There you go.
You can't have your dad beating up your stepbrother at your first game of the season overseas and be in the Big 12. That's not something a Big 12 quarterback has his family do. That's SEC behavior.
I love that. That was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, that is, you are set. You are ready to go as a quarterback for a school in Mississippi or Alabama or Arkansas with that kind of behavior. That's not Mizzou behavior. But you give me one of those three states, Florida too. Yeah, that's. If you told me that the quarterback of Florida, that his dad was beating up his stepbrother in the crowd during the game, I'd go, yeah, 100%. That is something that 3-year Letterman would tweet out.
And see, it sounds kind of Ohio State-ish. If it was Florida, it would be as the stepbrother was coming at him with a knife, the father shot him 3 times. That's Florida.
That would be, yes. Like that, you'd hear that after the game. Somebody says SEC dads don't travel overseas. Yeah, you would. In today's world with NIL money, the school's paying for you to go overseas and watch your kid over there. But SEC schools also aren't giving up games to go overseas.
Damn right they aren't. Can we have to address a few things in this show. First of all,
passports are complicated. Yeah, that would be.
You saw that 43% of the players, I think it was 43% of the players didn't have passports.
Yeah.
Or 40% did, so they need to get more than half, which is actually like around the national average. Like less than 50% of people in America don't have a passport.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's completely reasonable. Joe, I don't know how I'm going to do the rest of this show if I have to stare at a damn Cooper Kupp jersey the entire time. Wilson is behind the scenes right now with a Cooper Kupp jersey, and I don't know if I can do the rest of the show right now, Joe. I don't know if I can do this. I had to stare at a Los Angeles Rams jersey. Bone. Ugh, lovely.
We talked about this, I think, last show. That this is my second year of not doing fantasy football. Like I'm watching, I'm seeing the reels, I'm seeing the clips on social media of how guys are going about picking their draft order, the unique ways they're doing that, the combine for the draft order, or just some. I saw one the other day that was how whoever they had all 9 guys in the league eat a Big Mac. And whoever could eat the Big Mac the fastest got the number 1 pick, and then so on and so forth. Like things like that. I missed that part of it. Like I wish that was around when I played. I am so checked out on the start of the NFL starting. Week 1, I'll be locked in. That Thursday night game, week 1 at noon, when I put on Red Zone and I hear Scott Hansen's voice, like I'm going to be locked in to football for the next 10 hours that day. But right now, like, I saw the stories of the cuts this past weekend. I know that there were preseason games that were played. I'm just not there yet. Like I need actual real games to be played to be locked in. Like right now, I'm 100% into college for this weekend. Can't wait. Heading to Mizzou on Thursday. I'm like the only employee here at STL Sports Central that's not a Mizzou alum.
You're going to the game, and I'm not.
Yet I'll be there.
I ain't going to that game.
On Thursday.
I ain't going to that game. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a bad true son in that way. Wilson, you hate Missouri because you're wearing a Kroenke jersey. So we all know that. It's not surprising to anybody. Samuel House says if we don't see it, it doesn't exist. Check out my Twitter at ROCCSTL because I just tweeted out my plan for Wilson in that jersey today. Well, let's talk about the Cardinals because they fall to the Tampa Bay Rays over the weekend. They win the game on Thursday. They fall badly on Friday thanks to another Miles Michaelis start. Hey, guess what? It was away. It went poorly. Shocker. And then Sunday, after some rain delays and after they, of course, had to capitulate to the NFL like a bunch of pansies by simply not playing a game at all on Saturday against the Buccaneers because obviously Buccaneers is such a huge brand.
So weird.
And so then they played on Sunday, and Matthew Liberatore continues his streak going back all the way to June of not going through the sixth inning, this time not even making it through the fifth.
Yeah, you got to wonder if they were in contention this year right now, like if they were in an actual wild card spot, do you push Liberatore further into games? Because it truly seems like since they've returned from the All-Star break, that they're at that 75 pitch mark, he's done. That they know that he's already matched where he is, like career highs for innings, and that he's going to throw more this season than he's ever done in his professional career. And they're just kind of building up. They're just saying, hey, you know what? We're not shutting you down. We're letting you pitch the entire season, but you're just going to go out there and you're going to have game action up to 75 pitches. Which is kind of fine with me if that's what they're doing. He's still out there. It's a more competitive start than what Michaelis is giving you right now. He's still actually making it to 75 pitches, which is more than you can say a lot of cases. I think Pallante, it's hit or miss with him. So as long as that's happening, again, this is part of the whole rebuild that we talk about. Like, are we going to be upset that they're not win? Do we want them to rebuild? Do we want them to tear the whole thing down? And then we're going to get upset that Liberatore's just going out there and throwing 75 pitches. Like, it doesn't work both ways.
No, I think for me, it's more of the question of, and me and Randy were kind of getting to this on Friday. When you look at what Pallante is doing, only 7 or 8 innings past his previous high. When you look at the fact that Liberatore, to Derek Gould's point, on that June stat, has not gone through the 6th inning since June, and the Cardinals' only 2 quality starts in the last 2 weeks have come from Michael McGreevy. There is a lot of hope for Michael McGreevy, obviously, but I think there are some people who are reasonably questioning if Matthew Liberatore is going to be a part of the top 3 of your rotation in the future, and if Pallante is going to be a part of your rotation in the future. Is there some alarm bells going off about 2026 if both of these players are falling apart before they even hit their career highs? And then once they hit their career highs, are completely just 4 and a third level pitchers.
How do you stretch a guy out from 160 innings to 180 innings?
I mean, he
has to throw, right?
Yeah,
like
he has to throw.
He has to get out there and throw. Like you can't shut a guy down at 140 and go, hey, next year we expect him to get to 180. You got to keep pushing.
But the point is that Liberatore started seeing a pullback before he hit his career high in innings.
Right.
That's the
so
worrisome
you make him
part.
Work through it, and then you hope next year we're into September before we start having any concerns about it. And to Buster Olney's point a few weeks ago about how, if Cardinal fans think that next year's going to be better, like you got a whole lot to worry about because there's still a huge question marks with the pitching. We can sit there and we can say, trade away Nootbaar, trade away, Donovan for prospects, trade away Gorman. Like we can sit here and talk about that.
The trade away Donovan better for a major league pitcher.
Right. But what I'm saying is we can't sit here and say, trade away this pitcher, trade away that pitcher, because right now you're struggling to find
You were an inch away from saying Twade.
I did. I know. It came out. It came out. Yeah, I said it. And I stopped and reset on that. But
Time Bloom gonna make a Twade. I don't know why that's so funny to me, but it really is.
You can't trade away pitching because you don't have the guys behind them to come in.
No.
Who's the guy? What's the name of the guy that they just
had
up here this weekend that they sent back down to activate John King?
Are you telling me that Veneziano? Are you telling me I can't?
That's where we are this year.
Are you telling me I'm not allowed to be worried about something unless I have an answer for it? Stop it. No. I'm allowed to be worried about things that I have no solution for. That's completely reasonable as a fan.
Like we are, yeah, you have to sit here and Pallante, you have to accept the fact that Pallante is going to be a part of this rotation next year.
Yes.
That's if you want to sit here and say, okay, we're not going to bring Michaelis back. That's great. So now from your opening day starting five, you have already gotten rid of Eric Fetty. What? No,
I don't think so. The side doesn't. The side parts don't do it as well as you'd hope they would. I've noticed.
Flip the switch on it to get the side. We're just a technical, technical stuff in progress.
There's no flips on. There's no switches on.
No. Wow. Okay. Anyway, from your starting five that you had, your five in the rotation that you had at the beginning of the year, Fetty's already gone. Not only is Fetty gone, but you also have Fetty's also gone from the Braves. The Braves just released Eric Fetty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they said, you know what? Okay, you got us through whatever innings we needed to get through. Great.
Him and Luke and Baker can work each other out.
Is Baker's down in with the Dodgers?
Is he okay?
Yeah.
I know they. Yeah. I forgot he got DFA, but
Austin Gomber got released.
Yes, he did. I saw that today.
This weekend. Go over that in a second if you'd like.
We can leave that. We can leave that to where it belongs.
Yeah. If you're getting rid of Michaelis, okay, so that's 3 starters that you have this year that are coming back next year. You already have McGreevy, you know that. I'm all for letting Kyle Leahy, like stretching him out and seeing what that looks like. All for giving Quinn Matthews his opportunity. Who else down in Memphis or Springfield are we looking at and we're saying that's a starter for the future?
Not somebody who's healthy.
No, Tink Hens has had his health issues all year.
Injured.
Jerpy's out for the entire next season.
Injured.
I think there's another guy too that's out all next. There's a long list of
Robertson.
Yeah.
CD-ROM.
Who's Roby?
Roby, yeah, that's another one who just got hurt.
So again, you need arms to get you through the season. And the Cardinals aren't going out there and spending all this money on top of the line starters.
By the way, because I know someone in the chat's going to mention them, so I'm going to head them off at the pass. Joe, obviously, we talked about the rough go for Quinn Matthews down in the minors that everyone saw. 3 innings pitched, 6 hits allowed, 3 earned runs against back on August 13th. His last 2 starts. He's gone 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, and just 4 2/3 with 4 hits, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts, and 3 walks. No matter what, the consistency just isn't there for Quinn Matthews to come up to the majors this season.
I like this. I like this from Charlie that chimes in and says the remaining home games should be free. I'm not encouraging that. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just wondering if they said, come in, everybody can come in this week. Do you break 30,000? If you just open the doors to anybody and everybody that are coming in, do 30,000 people show up for free this week against the Pirates? No Paul Skeens. No Paul Skeens pitching this week.
I mean, how many homeless people are there in downtown?
They don't. No. I'm counting people that are coming there to watch the game as baseball fans,
not use the bathroom.
Not to come in. Yes.
I just want to make sure we're being clear about this.
Coming in to watch baseball games and go there to watch the Cardinals play baseball.
Charlie,
30,000.
Can we extrapolate Charlie's idea? Are there any beer specials?
No. Concessions are regular price. There are no discount. The only outside of whatever the $5 in the Budweiser.
If you charged $5 tickets, but did $3 beers, you'd get 30,000 in there. If you charged me a low ticket price, but give me really low beer price, people are going in there. But you give them free tickets and regular beer prices, nobody. You're still going to get 25. But if you did like $5 tickets, but then like $3 beers, oh yeah. I mean, it's 35,000 for that game, I think. Absolutely.
Yeah, but no, you don't get any. There's no discounts.
But no, if you're not discounting the beer and you're only discounting the ticket, no, because if I'm really that person, I can find $6 tickets every game,
right?
But I don't want to pay for $12 beers or $14 nachos. You find a way to make that, give Arthur Blank a call and ask him, hey, how do you make this economically feasible? Do that. And you'll get 35 and you'll get me down there to watch Cardinals game.
I went down to when we were down at SEC Media Days, the SEC gave us tickets to an Atlanta United game.
That's pretty cool.
And
that's the soccer team.
Yes. That plays at Mercedes-Benz.
Yes.
So went there knowing they had the cheap concessions. And I think I ended up spending more on concessions there than I would have if I go to Busch Stadium to watch a game.
Exactly. It's almost like it's a good
there
business.
And you're looking at it and you're going, oh, hot dogs are only this much, and I could throw a thing of chips and cheese on there and a cheap beer, and you kind of keep going and going, and next thing you know, your total's $30. You're walking away with a huge tray of food for that. But if you go and you're spending what normal concessions are in another ballpark, do I need a $7-8 hot dog? Do I need another $13 beer? Like, you're kind of looking at it. Nah, I'm not going to do that. But
I can wait till the last game. We can go across the street to one of those places. You're thinking that way, yeah. But if it's $3, I'm buying another one.
Yeah,
right in the moment, 100%. That's how you get people back in.
They did. They got me. They had some mac and cheese there too. That was so good.
Ooh,
yeah. Like down below, like we were on the field, like not field, like we were standing on the field on the same turf that the guys were running around on. That's where we were standing, watching that game.
Joe, I try to be a man of the people, but I'll also admit, I had a run over the last few summers getting green seats.
I've never sat in the green seats,
and it really breaks your brain on paying for food
because you were working with Brad, and Brad got
that's not why at all.
Okay.
Actually, Brad was very mad at me because, and a lot of people were very mad at me at my old place of business because the green seats I was in, you can't hide from the camera.
Okay.
So every time I was in them, everyone knew, and yeah, people like to
saw your hair, and it sticks. Yeah, I mean, people knew it was Rockio.
I'm trying to be a man of the people, but I'm trying to be honest at the same time here.
I've never done green seats.
We got to get you down there, Joe. It's a time.
I think I'm okay.
But dude, trust me. It's all the food's free. You're just ordering off the menu and your wallet never comes back out. It's the most beautiful thing in the world, Joe.
I mean, I've done like that. You can get that.
It's like being a freshman at a frat party again.
You can get those in like the Champions Club or any, like in the Pacific Perch or the Legend, the Red Jacket Club, all of those. Those are like those. I will tell you this, like as a person that has gone to a lot of different
all-inclusive tickets,
those are all inclusive. Yes, the Red Jacket Club, the retired number, all of those.
So you have had all-inclusive in Busch Stadium.
Yes. Okay. Oh God, yes. But I will tell you, like you could go and you can find very decent price tickets. This is even when I'm talking. This is when the Cardinals are good. Like we're talking almost years. A few years ago when Albert's last year, like stuff like that, you can go in one of those suites. And as somebody that goes into a lot of different ballparks, if I'm going somewhere else, if I'm going to another city to go to a game and I'm buying tickets for that, and I look like other teams don't have the amount of all-inclusive tickets that the Cardinals have, like all-inclusive suites, all-inclusive sections that the Cardinals have. And it is in a way, I mean, it's the Busch Stadium does it right. The Cardinals do it right with that, because you can spend $60-$70 on that ticket if you're going there. And when you look at the all-inclusive part of it, you're easily consuming that, I would think, for the most part. And then even with kids, like even, that's, people will say like, oh, well, yeah, you could drink the $60-$70. Or like, that's even taking Hudson to that. Like he's going to eat hot dogs and drink enough Shirley Temples to
wait, hold on a second.
Yeah.
You started the word with an S, and I was like, yeah, of course he's going to drink soda. Hudson drinks Shirley Temples?
A lot of kids drink Shirley Temples.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big drink.
I need to know more about this.
Yeah.
A couple things here. First of all, Samuel Howe says the Coca-Cola patio is very based.
Yes.
$80 with unlimited food and beer. Really?
Yeah.
$80 ticket for unlimited food and beer.
And I bet you're going to start seeing emails and you're going to start seeing tickets in the last month against with that too. I think you could go look at, what they have against like the A's coming up next weekend. That's Labor Day. I mean, I bet you could find a very decent ticket for that Monday afternoon Labor Day game.
Okay, now going back a few minutes ago, you mentioned the mac and cheese.
Yeah.
At the Atlanta United game. I have a quick question here because on this show, on a previous show that I was on with Randy and one with Brooke, they made a very large deal of the utensil that I would use to eat mac and cheese.
Okay.
So I have to ask a question here because we're big on mac and cheese with Randy and Brooke. In the consistency of this mac and cheese, was it a baconed mac and cheese that have some crispiness on the crunch?
Yeah.
Or was it was it runny, very gooey mac and cheese?
It was gooey and it had some crumbles on top of it.
Okay, how did you attack this? Did you attack it with a fork or a spoon?
A fork. I put a little barbecue sauce on top of it, and
would you ever use
a fork?
Would you ever use a spoon?
No.
For any kind of mac and cheese.
Maybe at the very bottom. If I have to like get it out of the bottom of the bowl, then
so
grab a spoon.
If there was a lot of if some of the mac and cheese almost created like a cheese soupish thing, you would use a spoon to attack the cheese in that way, right? Like a Panera Bread mac and cheese where all the ooey gooey cheese gets the pools at the bottom. You would use a spoon to attack that
at the very bottom. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I missed when you posted it up there earlier. You mama said I'm guessing the crispy. He said Luther donut burgers. I thought they were the Krispy Kreme donut burger. I know what he's talking about. You know what he's talking about there with those?
I have
Krispy Kreme donuts are the bun of a bacon cheeseburger that they sell at the Gateway Grizzlies games.
I'm sorry. You had 10 of those? I feel like I could eat one of them.
I mean, one of them, and you feel like you have diabetes.
Yeah, I know. I'm tapping out after one. I don't like glazed donuts. Too much sugar.
Yeah. Skywalker says games being being expensive is a myth. It's again, it depends. Like if you're going to a game, if you're just talking Cardinal games, I agree with that. Like if you want to go to a Cardinal game, you can find tickets, and Busch Stadium is very accessible to walk around. Like you can buy. That Budweiser Terrace, very easy to go up there and sit and watch a game. Not a bad view up there for those. You can walk around the concourse. That's the only downside to Busch as compared to other stadiums. Like when you're in the outfield concourse, you can't see the game. If you're back there like Ford Plaza type area, I wish you could see the game from there.
That makes sense. And Kroggy Hater says, but who wants to watch this sorry team? Listen, I obviously love sports, but the amount of times in my adult life, actually, let's go back. Even when I was a child, the amount of times in my childhood that I've gone to a Cardinals game with the express point of watching a baseball game is probably dead even with the amount of times I went to a Cardinals game and did almost zero actual watching of baseball games. Like when I was a little kid and my parents would take us to a Cardinal game and I would get to bring a friend. There was nothing I loved more about the old Busch Stadium than walking around that the sidewalk at the at the top. We would just walk around the game the whole time, just like screwing around, going to the empty sections. Like we never sat there and actually watched the game. And now when I'm an adult, half the time I go to Cardinals games, it's a social event. We're not there to watch the Cardinals. We're there because Busch Stadium happens to be hosting a nice social event for all of us to go down there at one time. So like there's a lot of reasons to go to baseball games that aren't actually watching a very bad baseball team. That's why Colorado's doing just fine in attendance this year.
Yeah, you go up there to the rock pile at the very top over there at Coors and watch a game up there. And when the sun sets, you got a nice little view of the mountains, and it's a great ballpark.
Yeah, Rich Camp says you can get nosebleeds at Coors for $5, and then you're looking at that view. I mean, come on, what else do you want?
Yeah, it's a real good one to watch a game from. Yeah, 100%.
So not a great weekend for the Cardinals, obviously. The other big thing is we're talking about potential red flags moving forward for 2026. We'll talk about this a little bit more after we talk with Howard Richards because he'll be coming up in a couple of minutes. But the Masyn Winn knee injury, we've mentioned it on the show a lot of times, but it is starting to kind of rear its ugly head. Obviously, as you get later into the season, the dog days, the season will start wearing on a player more. It's going to get worse. But is this problematic for you that one of your young up-and-coming pillars apparently has a little bit of a crack in it?
It's not, no, because again, I think throughout all of sports, you see very often when a team is out of it, everybody's hurt. Everybody's struggling. If the Cardinals were 10 games over 500, how much do you think do you think Masyn Winn would be missing games? Do you think he'd be sitting out
if they were
10 games over 500?
No, but that would be,
and the pain would still be there. I think
that's problematic.
These are things where you look at it and you say, okay, you know what? If you want to shut it down, we can shut you down. That's fine. Like we'll get you all fixed up. I think Masyn Winn, through his comments, though, he is getting the MRI. He is going to get it looked at to see the severity of it. But I think Masyn Winn realizes what he means to this team, what he means to the organization. He is the future face, if not, he's already the face of the organization. And I think in Masyn Winn's mind, okay, if he goes out there and plays 20 more games, it's one of those, can I hurt it anymore? And if I can hurt it anymore, is it going to set me back? Like he'll be on a table probably getting cut into the first week of October.
And isn't that problematic that we're talking about a guy this young having this kind of issues? Because it's not just the knee with him, it's also a back issue.
No.
And that's Gorman's issue as well. Gorman also has a back issue. So I think I'm just talking about the long scope here, because to your point, if they were winning, let's say next year they make a playoff run. So he's going to play 2 months with pain, which means he's potentially exacerbating the injury, which is going to shorten his career. This is. But I'm not trying to be alarmist.
You rehab. You figure out how you attack that in the offseason to fix it. I think you go about it. Okay, you get with a trainer, you get with doctors, you say, hey, what do I need to do to make sure these issues don't creep up next year? What kind of treatment do I need to do? What do I need to do this whole offseason to be ready? If I'm getting surgery first week of October, what do I need to do to be ready to go by the second week of January? So I can ramp it up, and a month later I'm ready for spring training. And I think you go again, that's all they're going to be doing the whole offseason is just rehabbing to get better.
But does the fact that he's rehabbing a knee while he also doesn't have a very healthy back, is that worrisome to you at all?
It's not.
How come?
Because he's young, and because there's nothing about
the young factor almost worries me more because it's already an issue.
There's nothing about Masyn Winn's style of play or his build or anything like that to where I look at it and I worry about those things.
What about just the history of chronic back issues in sports?
Again, it's okay. Find a way to address that in the off season and change how you work out. Change what you're doing, exercises, lifting, those type of things as the off season goes on, and then know how to address that in spring training. Know how to address that when you then come up to St. Louis in April. Again, a year ago, we heard JJ Weatherholt had a bad hamstring, and that's what dropped him to number 7 in the draft. Remember, he was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick.
Sure.
Hamstring hurt. People were worried about it. So far, have we heard one time this whole season in all of JJ Weatherholt's mashing down in AA and AAA, have we heard once anything about JJ Weatherholt's hamstring down there? Not a thing. He got here with professional level medical team. He figured it out himself that his senior year of college, he figured out, okay, here's what I need to do to heal that and make sure that's not going to be an issue moving forward. So I think you just kind of take it the same way. Okay, my knee hurts. All right, this wasn't, great year health wise. I'm going to, we'll address it in the offseason. I'm going to see how much I can play through it this year.
Fair enough. Mark Stussy, until the Cardinals address pitching, might as well not jeopardize the position players. Rest them if you need to. Yeah, I have no issue with them resting Masyn Winn now. I'm just talking about looking forward and trying to play this out in the long scope. And this has been my point on Masyn Winn and Nolan Gorman for a while. And why I was kind of okay with potentially trading Nolan Gorman is because 2 young players with chronic back issues is not a gamble that I want the Cardinals to be in on if I'm a Cardinals fan. And now you have the knee injury pop up as well. That's for me, that's why I get a little bit worried when you talk about the future of Winn and Gorman. I think less about their ability to hit or ability to play defense, and I think more about if these guys are supposed to be the next 10 years of Cardinals baseball, are they going to last 5-10 years, or are these guys who are going to be crumbling around 32 instead of 34, which I think is a big, when you talk about how contracts usually get signed, usually you sign a player until the end of their prime right at 32, but if they fall apart at 30 instead of 32 or 34, it costs you a lot of money in the long run.
Yeah, and I just think, again, it's how you go about throughout the entire season of taking care of it. I think all these guys are going to hurt. I think, again, there's nothing about Masyn with the knee injury. If Masyn Winn was a bigger, heavier guy and was going out there
Same thing with the back.
knees, in the back, I'd worry about it a little bit. But he's not. So I just, something about that, his build, that's not something I worry too much about.
Just think life's just so easy for skinny people.
It is 100%. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I didn't expect you to
I'm just saying.
agree with that. Be like, yeah, it's easier.
Right.
There was a little feeling in there. I could feel that, Joe. You okay?
Yeah. When you get fatter, again, the back starts hurting. You're carrying more on the knees. It sucks.
Helps you build the leg muscle though. Bach Hog, this is baseball. Why do we act like they're playing rugby? I mean, I don't know. Like, these are the injuries that are happening. We're reacting to them. Is that not what we're supposed to do? Should we not be doing that? Am I doing this wrong?
I just, again, 100. How often are you playing in rugby? Baseball's an everyday thing.
Yeah, I don't know how rugby leagues work. I'll be honest about it.
Right.
I'm extremely ignorant of this. Going back to the Cardinals conversations, let's turn to didn't like my thought process. So Busch would be better if they just sold tickets to a social event and left the player salaries at the door. You just eliminated a lot of overhead. That's essentially what I was saying. Yeah, you hit it right, nail on the head. Aaron Dobson, I'm an actual Cardinals fan. I would go to watch the game. If you guys think that what I'm describing is a rare thing in St. Louis, I don't know what to tell you. But I have some pretty dyed in the sackcloth St. Louis fans who are friends of mine, and when they go to baseball games, they're not scorekeeping the flipping thing anymore. They're drinking beer and taking pictures on their phone and using it as an extension of a social event. That's just what a lot of the groups of people in their 20s are doing as well, in my opinion.
I go a lot now. I will go to see opposing players that I either enjoy watching or will, either I like watching them play or, I know they're superstars.
You're getting ready to see Nick Kurtz in a few weeks, aren't you?
That's not going to be one.
That's not one of that gets you?
I don't think I'm going to be making it to either of the Athletic or the Giants games. If the Mariners were here, 100% would be there for the big dumper.
Julio. Oh, yeah, big dumper.
Yeah. I would go and watch Cal Raleigh play baseball this season.
That makes sense.
Absolutely. And as I look, I've seen Ellie De La Cruz play.
Pretty good, pretty special. You're going to get to see a lot of chances to see him play, though.
Right. I've seen him play. And then after that, it's the Brewers. They're, again, the Cardinals do not have a schedule to end the season that you kind of look at and you go, I gotta go there for those games. I want to be there to see those. It's just not, those aren't there for me.
That's fair. Bach Hog, the amount of time Major League Baseball players take for injuries is just amazing to me. I watched a guy take a puck to the face in the Stanley Cup Finals. They slacked duct tape on it and he went back out. Yep. Hockey players are tough.
Right.
It's not really a new part of the conversation. Yeah. Baseball players.
As soon as the season ends, I mean, how what Kachuk they just announced over the weekend, Kachuk had to undergo surgery and thinking he might miss the start of the season. So yeah, they're out there playing hurt, but they're going to go get fixed up the same way.
Tell you what, Gretzky's moving pretty well in his age because you weren't allowed to hit him.
Yeah.
I'd like to see how spry McSorley is right now.
Right. Gretzky also a smaller guy.
Yeah. It must be nice when no one's allowed to hit you.
Exactly.
Must be nice that when no one's allowed to hit you. Mm-hmm. I just love hockey fans who always point that out. Matt Holliday got knocked out by a moth. It happens.
I thought somebody just posted that too. Yeah, that's
what?
No, about the holiday thing.
No, that's my favorite.
Yeah, Kachuk out till January. Somebody said in the chat.
That's my favorite obscure baseball injury is that he had a moth fly into his ear, and it was a big issue. At the same time, I also would not want to be a major league pitcher with a hangnail or a blister and have to pitch through that. That would suck. I don't blame them for saying I'm out on that one. Nolan Ryan said the babying of pitchers starts in the minors, and he could never pitch their potential after that. I think you're just trying to handle these guys. I think Nolan Ryan is.
They're also much bigger investments now for that. What did the Cardinals just sign Liam Doyle for? Like, what was his rookie deal?
Oh,
for that.
You're asking me like you don't got Google. So he signed an underslot deal, signing bonus of $7.25 million.
Okay.
Which was just below the 8.1 that was suggested.
Okay, and let's just throw out there. I'm gonna throw let's see. Ben McDonald. Let me go Ben McDonald, because I know he was a number 1 overall pick back during what was it? So he was the number 1 pick in 1989. I don't know why I was reading the awful announcing thing last week for the for the play-by or the TV teams, and that's why Ben McDonald's name jumped up. He was the first overall pick in 1989. He signed a 3-year deal worth $950,000.
It's changed a little bit since then, hasn't it? Yeah.
So that you just don't care about. Okay. That $300,000. That's a lot different than a $7 million. Is that what you said? $7 million signing bonus?
Yeah.
And then what was the deal on top of that?
That I didn't have in front of me, so I stopped talking.
But a $7 million signing bonus. This guy didn't, in the first 3 years, didn't make that at all. So again, it's different.
I'm not finding what his actual salary will be once he actually like plays baseball for them, like what he'll start at. That I'm not finding in front of me right now. But who cares? He signed it. He got a $7 million check. It's pretty nice.
Right.
It's in none of these articles, whatever.
Waiting on Howard Richards to jump on with us. A lot of college football coming your way this week. We will begin a new season of Huddle Up with Howard. If you remember that from the from Claibs Online.
I don't remember that. Tell everybody what it was.
Mike Claiborne and Howard Richards just talking football once a week.
Ooh,
yeah.
College football focused?
Both. They will talk both. They will talk wherever their minds lead them.
Fine.
But obviously, it's going to be centered around Mizzou.
Hold on a second. I get it. Howard Richards. He's an analyst for the Missouri Tigers. Yeah. What is he doing talking about the NFL though?
I mean, he did play for the Dallas Cowboys.
What?
Yeah. Be a lot better if he was on hold waiting for you to scream.
I wouldn't even make the joke. I'd be afraid in the 12 seconds I make the joke, he'd go white hot anger, hang up, or just clock it into his brain that I think he didn't play in the NFL, and I would never make that joke around him. I'd be terrified.
So we have that'll be every week. The two of them talking football each and every week. Woo-hoo. We are also going to continue, as we have since we launched in February, with post-game shows for all of our area teams. As you remember from college basketball season, we had Kareem Rush and Chris Pelican doing post-game shows for the Mizzou Tigers. We will have Chris Pelican, Howard Richards, and others on board with us for our Mizzou post-game show. And after we are done talking with Howard Richards, who is waiting for us to bring him on, I will tell you to hold on if you are an Illini fan, because I do have some very, I'm going to make, sorry, Illini fans, I'm going to make you sit through the Missouri Tiger here and listen to him talk before I tell you our news on the Illini. So sorry about that for all of our fans east of the river. What's up, Howard? How are you?
Morning, guys. Who's that guy next to you on your left? I haven't seen him in ages.
How you doing, Howard? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Rock. Hey, good to see you again, man, and looking forward to working with you this season.
Yeah, very excited for this Missouri Tiger season. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Howard, let me just, start before we get into the roster, before we get into expectations. This time of year for you, when a new season is on the horizon, where is your, I guess, how are you feeling going into it? What's your level of excitement for this team, especially now year 2 of the playoffs? How are you assessing the 2025 Missouri Tigers?
Cautiously optimistic. There was so much expectation before last season that this team could conceivably, be a playoff team, and minus I'd say 2 games where they just didn't play well on the road for any number of reasons. This team probably would have been there. I'm talking about the Alabama game and the Texas A&M game, both on the road. They lost a really, really heartbreaking game at South Carolina as well. And that game, had they won that one, that could have easily propelled them into certainly deeper into the playoff talk, if not having in place in the playoffs. And as you know, South Carolina finished with the same record, and they were lobbying hard to be a playoff team also. The 2 things this season: the fact that you have 6 consecutive home games, probably unprecedented as far as I can tell. And those very teams that Mizzou lost to on the road last season, guess what? We get to play them all in Columbia this year. So for the guys that were on the roster last year, I think it's going to matter. Mizzou's been undefeated at home the past 2 seasons. I think conceivably this could be, even though you don't have as many big names, if you will, at least not yet on this roster, this could be Eli Drinkwitz's fastest and strongest team yet. I think he's done really well in the transfer portal, adding key players, understanding what his needs are when a player or players depart either through graduation, attrition, or whatever the case may be. Going out and finding the exact type of player that he wants on his roster, not only from a football perspective, but also one that fits nicely into the culture that he has built. So I think those are the things that that make me excited about what this team in 2025 could look like. Of course, they're preseason, they're not ranked, which, as you guys know, doesn't mean a whole lot. Some of the players, though, I think they feel disrespected, and I think it's actually a good position to be in. It just makes you want to go out and prove, whether you are a good enough team, whether you should be ranked or not. Go out and prove that and earn the fact that you want to be ranked.
One of the big things that came out, obviously, people want to talk about the quarterbacks, but at this point, we know what the situation is going to be, and until we both see them throwing the ball on Thursday, there's not a lot more to be said about what's been going on with these quarterbacks. Now we'll all have all their reps in front of us to break them down. But what did jump out to a lot of people when you're talking about the depth chart and where those magical oars are sitting on the depth chart, it did jump out to a lot of people and to me that Jamal Roberts got an oar with Ahmad Hardy. Ahmad Hardy's been getting a lot of the pub as the starting running back for Mizzou this year. He's been on all the watch lists for the SEC's top running back and things like that. And obviously, I'm not trying to take anything away from Hardy. I think this is more kind of boosting up the redshirt sophomore and Jamal Roberts. But why do you think that we got that depth chart out between Hardy and Roberts? What do you think that means for the running game going into this first game?
Well, if you know Jamal Roberts, he's a young man who has worked extremely hard from right here in St. Louis, St. Mary's Catholic School. And has quietly become a running back that can do it all. Tremendous blocker, good catching the ball out of the backfield. And, he has earned the right, I think, to get more carries. I remember when he was a freshman, and just about the time that they started assigning numbers, I saw him just, zipping by guys through the line of scrimmage and making these long runs. I'm like, who's number 20? And it was Jamal Roberts. And I had met him before he had actually committed and signed to Mizzou. But I was always really impressed by him. And I think he's a big back. He's 6 feet tall. And, he probably goes, he's probably approaching 215, 220 maybe. But he's got really good speed. He knows the offense. And that might be the advantage that he has over Ahmad Hardy. He's been in this system for quite a long time. So that really matters. But I do believe that Ahmad Hardy, he's a different type of back, a little more shifty, but he's got great lower body strength. He's very quick and very elusive. He's run in the outside zone scheme as well. So I think they could be a really good 1-2 combination this season for the Tigers. But happy to know that Roberts is going to be a guy that's vying for a lot of playing time.
Just as a guy that has covered the team for so many years, like you have, Howard, in this new era with the transfer portal and getting guys like you mentioned, like Hardy, like Pribula from different schools, guys that you didn't see with the Tigers last year, now going up against guys that you are familiar with. From your standpoint of kind of figuring out how they're going to fit in, how do you go about that? And what have you heard about the way that they're, I guess, getting used to Drink's system here at Mizzou?
I think it really starts by, with the coaching staff looking at a player's skill set, right? You talk to a guy, you talk to his family, you talk to his friends, you talk to his teammates, and figure out what type of the total person concept, if you will. It's almost like if you're an investigator and you're doing investigations for security clearance, which I used to do, you're not judging someone on one thing that stands out. You're looking at the total picture. And those are the important factors that go into recruiting and bringing guys into your roster, right? So it's almost a given that those that come in and are going to be a part of this program essentially have been vetted by the coaching staff and Coach Drinkwitz. He already knows that this is the type of player that he feels is going to be a good fit for Missouri football. The rest is going to be up to the player, how he assimilates into the team culture, how fast he learns the offense or defense. And it's not really, to me, a big secret as to how guys do fit in here, because I think, they're like, you can see, what you need, you go out and find it. It's like you go and shopping at the grocery store, you got your list, you see it on the shelves, you pick it out and take it home and do your thing. It's very similar to that. And it's, the analogies are, having a staff that understands what it wants to do and where it wants to go, and just going out and finding the pieces of those puzzles to give you exactly what you want.
And one of those players who did transfer here, St. Louis native Kevin Coleman, his fourth team in 4 years, and I think a lot of people will see that and react to it one way. But how important do you think it is for a guy like Coleman to finally be at a place like Missouri, close to home, and he can lock in? And even though there's some questions with the quarterback, what are your expectations for a guy like Coleman this season?
Certainly expect him to be an integral part of this offense. Before he left to go to Jackson State, it was sort of an either or between Kevin Coleman and Luther Burden. And when Burden committed to Missouri, I think Coleman wanted to go someplace and shine using his own star. There may have been a few other little reasons why he didn't come here initially. But the fact remains that he's here, wants to be here. Drink wanted him here. Kevin Coleman is a unique player. I think he will have the ability to elevate his game from what he has done over his past 3 seasons, especially Mississippi State. He's surrounded by better players, and I think when you've got a supporting cast that is just better all around, it gives you the opportunity to really show off your skill sets. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in action. Saw him obviously when Mizzou played at Mississippi State and was really impressed by him. And he's really quick, but his attitude is he wants to be here. He's come back home and wants this season to be, obviously wants it to be his absolute best, because he's looking certainly, beyond college football and playing at the next level. And I think he's really got a chance to up his game here at Missouri.
And while we're talking about, some new players, one area that has a lot of returning starters that has some question marks, the defensive backfield. And I know they got Jalen Catalon, and Stephen Hall is fighting for one of the cornerback jobs as well. But you have Toriano Pride, Dre Norwood, Dalen Carnell, all guys returning from last season, who are either seniors or graduates. So these guys really have a chance after being here for years to finally take that step forward alongside the rest of the defensive back. You've got a chance to watch all of these guys grow over the last couple of years. When you talk about that defensive backfield group, obviously the new transfers are going to make an impact, but your thoughts on these guys who are potentially finally getting a chance to show out in what could be their final year with the Tigers?
I just think it's an extremely talented group. We watched some of these guys grow. Norwood and Pride will be in his second year, and certainly Carnell in this Missouri system. And Dalen Carnell may be one of the most athletic players on this team, and understands what they're trying to do defensively. Catalan is, he's an all SEC caliber player, very smart. I know he's been dinged up in camp, but I'm really looking forward to his expertise and experience really shining through on that defense, coupled with the new edge rushers that this team has brought in. The middle of the defense, along the front four, has been solidified as well. They've got some really talented guys playing linebacker. Suffice it to say, this is probably the strength of the team as they kick off the 2025 season. So defensively, what I hope to see is a more aggressive, attacking, pressure type of defense that will create lots of takeaways. And if you do that, if you're plus 10 in takeaways at the plus 10 or greater in takeaways at the end of the season, you're probably going to be among the top teams in the SEC. And I think this group of players are hungry enough to want to be able to go out there and achieve that type of goal. Obviously, a lot of things are going to matter. You got to have guys healthy, of course, but to be able to play consistently, playing together, guys that have not played together before, so you have to get a feel for each other, much like you do along the offensive line. But just from a sheer talent and experience standpoint, this team should have what it takes to be one of the top defenses, not just in the SEC, but across the country.
The biggest question going into Thursday, and I feel like a few of those first games at home, is going to be that quarterback position. Drink has stopped short of naming a starter so far, which, man, when you look at it, if you're not ready to name Bo Pribula the starting quarterback yet, Sam Horn must be impressing a lot of people there in Columbia so far, Howard.
Well, think about Sam Horn. This is his third year in the system as well. So from that standpoint, he has a bit of an advantage. He's worked with his coaching staff, so they know his tendencies a lot better than they know Pribula. That said, I think Pribula brings a slightly different skill set. He's played in a championship caliber program, a winning program at Penn State. So he brings a different type of edge to this team. I think that the competition has made each other better. Sam Horn is definitely no slouch. I mean, he's one of the top quarterbacks coming out of the country 3 years ago. And we certainly know who he was throwing the ball to in high school, one Travis Hunter, who is one of the top receivers, dual threat players, dual position players in college football last year. And, could be an interesting guy to watch in his rookie season in the NFL. So Sam Horn is very talented. He plays baseball. He signed a rookie contract with the Dodgers. So talent all the way around. And from, as long as his arm holds up, I think, he's going to be productive in this offense, whether he's named the starter, going into week 2 against Kansas or not. I still think both of these players are going to play more than the traditional starter backup role.
Howard, take us into the mindset of a defensive lineman really quickly, because you mentioned the offensive line for the Missouri Tigers, and we know the talent is there, but there's been some shifting around, specifically Caden Green shifting outside to tackle from guard. If you're a defensive lineman, and even if you're dealing with a super talented player, but you're dealing with a guy who has made a position shift and maybe doesn't have the experience he has with his left guard, is that something that you're circling in the scouting report and attacking?
Certainly, although I don't know how much the opponents at this level, I'm not taking anything away from them. I don't know how much they pay attention to those things. But the importance is when a guy is changing positions, I'd say sort of late in camp, middle to late in camp. It says two things. It says, A, he's capable and has the skill set to move out. It's not the easiest thing to do, is to move from guard to tackle. Much easier to move inside from the outside and from tackle to guard. I've done that. But I think also the unselfishness of what he also is trying to do is prepare these guys to be able to play at the NFL level. Understanding that, if he's going to improve his draft stock, he should be a player that can play multiple positions. Most offensive linemen are going to have to do that at some point, especially as young players. So I think it is as much as that factor, preparing him to play professionally, but also showing that he is a talented guy and can play multiple positions at Missouri. I feel strongly, knowing Brandon Jones and what he has done with the Missouri offensive lines in his past 2 seasons, I feel confident that he knows exactly what he's doing, and he has placed those players along the offensive line in the best position possible to mold his best offensive line, especially at the outset of the season. Doesn't mean that the way they start on August 28th is going to be the way they finish in November. But I'm excited to see what certainly Caden Green can accomplish at left tackle. Don't know how much we'll see it or observe in the first game, but going forward, should be a fun thing to watch.
Looking back at last year, you can pinpoint which game or which games Mizzou needed to win to end up in the top 12 in the playoffs from last season. That South Carolina one was a big one. But as you look at this season, is there a must-win game on the schedule if Mizzou wants to make the playoffs at the end of the year?
Well, certainly in week 2, you've got to beat Kansas. You've got to beat Kansas at home. And that's going to be, I think, a good barometer. Kansas looked really good over the weekend. And I think that will be the truest test, similar to a couple of years ago when Mizzou opened against Kansas State at home. Of course, that game was a nail biter and went down to a final 61-yard kick by Harrison Mevis to give Mizzou the victory. And I think that game, from a mental perspective, really boosted the confidence level of that football team and got them to the point where they won 11 games that year. And that was sort of I think the coming out party of Mizzou football and Eli Drinkwitz. And this is the goal for this team. You want to be among the elite. Not necessarily how many games you're going to win, but you certainly winning double digits really helps. But just going back to that early game in that season, this Kansas game, I think, is probably the pivotal barometer for what this team can and will do, or what they're capable of doing, I should say.
One of the big stories right now in the football world, Howard, not necessarily in the college world, in the NFL world, has been the recent documentary about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. As somebody who wore that star for a long time and was coached by Tom Landry, and somebody whose entire Cowboys career is pre-Jerry Jones, how do you watch these reflections of the early Jerry Jones era now, years later?
Surprisingly, I've not watched it yet. I was going to watch it last night. I started watching it, and I was just a little too tired. But my plan is to watch it this week. I was in Dallas when the transition happened. It was not a very popular thing. When you suddenly, you purchase the team and you fire an icon in pro football like Tom Landry, who is so revered, even to this day in Dallas, did not sit well with the general public there. And it wasn't until the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, I guess, 92, that things began to change for the perception or how Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson were perceived. Now, Jimmy Johnson has always been a successful coach, pretty much everywhere he's been. But Jerry Jones was, he was very out front. He started doing things that you never really saw an owner of a professional franchise do. His public image and the things that he said, and kind of his good old country boy drawl and things that he would say that were really, sort of offbeat. And sometimes they had you scratching your head about what this guy, and is he really capable of running this team like he thinks he is. Now, he's, from a standpoint of marketing and promotions, I don't know that any owner has done any better in the league, in the history of the league, than what Jerry Jones has done. From the standpoint of being the quote unquote de facto general manager of that team, there's a lot to be desired. And sometimes egos get in the way of what's best for your organization. And I think this is the case here. Instead of hiring a true guy that understands football and evaluating players and running a scouting staff, until they are committed to doing that, I don't know that we'll ever see Dallas Cowboys challenging for a Super Bowl for those very reasons. It's a serious business. And if you're not approaching it that way, if you're approaching it from the standpoint of self-gratification and ego, then you don't have the best interest of your ball club at heart.
If you found yourself coaching a youth team right now, is there a thing that you can think of that Tom Landry said to you as a player that you would relay to a young football player nowadays?
It's really about the work ethic, and not just from a physical standpoint, but truly studying every aspect of the game. We were required to know virtually every position along the offensive line. If I'm playing guard, I need to know what the center's doing, what the tackle's doing, what the tight end's doing, what the quarterback's doing, where the running back's point of attack is going to be from a standpoint of footwork. I mean, it was, my mind at times as a young player was just exploding. Then I had to know multiple positions. And if you played a team like the Redskins back in the day, not the Commanders, you had to sometimes prepare for 15 different defenses at any given play. And the fact that you might play more than one position in that game. So the commitment to the sport, you can't just casually say you want to do something. You've got to invest the time in truly learning about not just, the fundamentals and footwork, but, what you're trying to do on every play, how you're trying to attack an offense or how you're trying to attack a defense. That is what Landry required, and I think that's what made him very special as a head coach.
Well, coming up this Wednesday, it's the first edition this year of Huddle Up with Howard, as it comes over to STL Sports Central. Mike Claiborne, Howard Richards, and you said that you plan on watching the documentary this week. I know how much Claibs loves documentaries as well. I would imagine the two of you will have a chance to talk about some of that on the show this week. But for those that aren't familiar with the podcast and what you guys do every football season, Howard, give us a little taste of what to expect out of you and Claibs this week, starting on Wednesday.
Well, I think the biggest thing people should understand is that we've been friends for a long, long time. In fact, our fathers were friends. And Mike Claiborne to me is like another brother. We spent a lot of time together when we're both in the same city. But he's just a guy that I truly enjoy and talking with and spending time with. And, there are times, it happened as recently as Saturday night, we're completing each other's sentences. So that's what makes it special. We get along great. We have so many people in the same friend group, but I think, we've all spent a lot of time studying our respective sports and trying to understand the mindset of those that participate in those sports. And, we're like-minded, but also, we also have different opinions on things. He's got a tremendous knowledge base of a lot of different sports, and we just bounce things off each other very often. And I think that's why it works, and that's why we ultimately we're thrilled to be able to have the opportunity to work together.
Coming up on Thursday evening at 6:30, it is the Missouri Tigers facing off against Central Arkansas. You can hear Howard Richards, as always, on the broadcast with our good friend Mike Kelly. Howard, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be tuned in for Huddle Up with Howard on Wednesday, and we will
post-game show and
the post-game show on Thursday evening. Thank you so much, sir.
Looking forward to it, guys. Thank you.
There he is. That is the great one, Howard Richards, who I very stupidly conflated in my head all the times that he told me about having to go one-on-one versus Randy White, who was the great Dallas Cowboys defensive lineman. I, in my head, conflated that Howard was a defensive lineman, and I was like, wait a second, I screwed that up. He played offensive line. I'm a moron. But halfway through, I was like, wait a second, I blew that one. I was like, I think it's because I remember he would come on to Frank's show and he'd tell these incredible stories about what's going on with Randy White. And Randy White, if you guys don't know, was a defensive tackle for the Cowboys who played defensive tackle at like 260 pounds, but was like the strongest man in the NFL, despite the fact that there was offensive linemen who had him by like 10, 15 pounds. And for some reason in my head, I conflated the Randy White story with Howard lineman, no defensive lineman, and I'm a moron, and I apologize to everyone.
So this is just to give you, this is a great Howard story that I had this is back in February. So I am down in New Orleans for the at the Super Bowl. And I'm looking through my text here to find the name. So I'm at this event called Taste of the NFL, where they have people from every NFL city there, and then they bring a former player. Some are like, they just played with the team. Like I think a wide receiver for the Bills, 2024 Bills was there. But then they have guys that are older that played in maybe the 70s, 80s, 90s. And there's a guy there by the name, it was Daryl Clack. And I see him. I see he's probably about the same age, around the same age as Howard. And I look, and I quickly look up, and I see that they played together.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up to Daryl and I said, hey, like I'm friends with Howard Richards. I work with him in St. Louis. And I get the Howard writes back to me, texts back to me. He goes, tell Daryl my ankle still hurts.
Oh no. See, okay, so now I'm gonna guess the story because he's a running back, and I'm guessing he got tackled, he rolled up into Howard on a play.
Daryl tells, like, just word for word, tells me the entire story. I mean, this is, what year did they play together?
1988, 1987, whatever. I mean, they were both on the Cowboys for 87 and 88, I believe.
Yeah, it just goes through and tells the entire story of the exact play of what happens, and I'm sitting there texting back and forth for the two of them. But just the memory that some of these guys have with like plays that I think this is even like a preseason practice that has happened at too.
I get really nerdy with that kind of stuff. For like another little example is I was going through I was doing some very deep searches for like old interviews by all the new SLU players that have been transferred in. I'm trying to find some facts about them, and I found out one of their dads, who's currently a basketball coach, was on the UCLA roster at the same time as Reggie Miller. And I'm like, okay, I have to ask, like, I have like 4 questions. Like, have you ever met Reggie Miller? Did your dad tell stories about Reggie Miller? You're 6'7" and you shoot a lot of 3-pointers. Is that because of Reggie Miller? Like, is there a little Reggie Miller there? Like, I love finding little stories like that with guys who play together, and you try to connect to these dots and things like that.
So Howard and Claibs, it'll be every week. This week it'll be Wednesday. Other weeks it'll depend on obviously on the Mizzou schedule, if it's home or away. In the month of September, it depends on Claibs' schedule, where he is with the Cardinals. There's a lot dependent, but it will be every week before Mizzou plays their game on Saturday. We will have that show on here, and then select games. We will be doing a pregame show on STL Sports Central.
Oh,
yeah. So there will be select games that we will have that. Not every game, but we will have select games. We will do that.
So I'm guessing that won't be in the weeks 1, 2, 3, or 4.
That's no.
Oh, wait, week 2.
Possibly.
Oh, let's go. I just need a 5-minute segment where me and Brendan Schaefer make KU jokes. Like it's just I just need a 5-minute segment where me and Brandon Schaefer just go. What's the best? Like, what do you call making ice at Mizzou? A bachelorette, like, or bachelor's degree or something like that. Like you all these Mizzou and jokes and things like that. I'm being, okay then. That's okay then. I didn't see that coming.
Breaking news out of STL St. Louis City SC. They are parting ways with Lutz.
Huh. Well then, that's interesting.
Give me 90 seconds, Rock, before you while you gather your thoughts, and I will let you talk about that. I just want to wrap up our Mizzou stuff. So we do have obviously Chris Pelican, we have Howard Richards, we have Vic Faust, we have Brendan Schaefer, we have Grant Salzman, we have Kylie Hansen, 2 recent Mizzou grads. We have you, also a Mizzou grad. We have a large amount of Mizzou alums and football fans who will be providing our Mizzou coverage for us this season throughout the year. And that means that we also have to take care of the other side of the river. And we will have on starting this Friday night as the Fighting Illini take on my Western Illinois Leathernecks. After the game, we will have an Illini post-game show that will be run by the guys that are the Illini guys. IlliniGuys.com, one of the top websites for Illinois news and coverage. They will be providing STL Sports Central with our Illini Central post-game show after each and every Illinois game. I believe 12th ranked Fighting Illini to start the year. So after every single Illini game, we will also have a post-game show for them on STL Sports Central. All of their content, all of their writing, if you're an Illini fan and you follow them already, all of their stuff is going to stay the same. All of their shows during the week, all of their writing, all of their message boards, their website, everything stays the same. Their post-game show is the only thing coming to STL Sports Central, and their radio show is going to be back on 590 KLIS. It used to be on 590 The Fan. It will be back on the airwaves in St. Louis as well. So we have partnered with the Illini guys to bring you coverage of Illinois football this season. So we have your Mizzou post game, we have your Illini post game. We are all set and ready to go with Illinois and Mizzou football coverage this season. Very much looking forward to all of that. Rock, have I wasted enough time for you to? Can I just leave and let you talk STL or St. Louis City SC? I mean, should I just let Grant come in here and take my place in the chair, and you guys can talk about this to wrap up the show today? Because I know he came running out when the news happened as well.
Yeah, I love it when they do this stuff randomly. Well, I mean, the summer transfer window closed this week, and so conceivably this is a part of the season where you can fire your sporting director because he doesn't have to deal with the contract stuff for another month or two, so you can get a new guy in there to work that through. This is a little shocking only because with the way they had built the contracts, they were able to hit the reset button at the end of this season. There's 15, I think maybe 17 options or contracts that expire in 2025. So they could have really hit the reset button, changed most of the depth in the team, brought in some new young players, and changed a couple of the starters' highest cost players. But the bottom line is Carolyn Kindle said before the season that they had to make the playoffs this year. And they're obviously not going to make the playoffs this year. And so by that stipulation from Carolyn, this maybe shouldn't be surprising to some people because they failed to reach their goal. And the roster wasn't showing a ton of development. A lot of the big name players that Lutz brought in have all shown their quality this season. That's been one of the biggest things. When he's been playing, Edward Leuven's been a great player. Roman Berkey's been an above average goalkeeper. After 2 years is one of the best ever in the history of the MLS. Marcel Huddle working. Zhao Klaus having a big season. Songbing Jean has been huge since he was acquired. There's been some issues with Fallu Fall getting onto the field, but when he has played, he's played well. A lot of the big swings from Lutz over the years have been successful, but they have been outweighed by an overwhelming majority of the middle and smaller range moves struggling, and to another point, you could say being an abject failure. Because when you look at all of the mid-range things and how they didn't work out, you have the left back conundrum for years, and that includes Selmir Pedro getting a big contract and never playing a real game for this club and always being on loan. Nicholas Dewyer was a name that we all talked about for like a month and never heard of again. They brought in Anthony Marcanic. It was a good move because he sucked with Colorado, and then he kind of started sucking here a little bit more, and then bam, Wilson, we got to pivot. So you couldn't figure out a left back. One of the left backs you had to start this club, Johnny Nelson, wasn't good enough for your team. But then he went off and was the starting left back for a team that won the entire championship in the LA Galaxy. Jared Stroud had a really good season for you in your first team, in your first season, but you had to put him with Lucas Bartlett to get Chris Durkin, who has not been very successful. Durkin had another struggling game on Saturday. That move hasn't worked out. The Tim Parker move, I would argue that trade for Henry Kessler has definitely worked out. Henry Kessler is a very good player. Tim Parker was a fine player, but Kessler was younger, makes about the same amount of money, and has definitely improved. So a lot of the big moves by Lutz were good, but all of the mid-range moves, especially over the last 2 years, really did not work for this team, and that hurt their depth. That hurt their ability to lean on players when they had other injuries, and that's unfortunate. Now, part of this is a lot of variables that Lutz couldn't control. Lutz, when he signed Joachim Nielsen, couldn't predict that Joachim Nielsen was going to fall apart physically. He couldn't predict that Rasmus Alm, despite being such an impactful player whenever he is healthy, he couldn't predict that Rasmus Alm was never going to be able to find the field healthy. You obviously can't predict the tragedy that has befallen the family of Edward Leuven. You can't predict those things, but they are facts that you have to deal with. And the fact of the matter is, too often the roster was left without any room to pivot. And therefore, when you had injuries from players, you didn't have the quality or the ability to add more quality. When you had moments like Edward Leuven happen, you didn't have any space to pivot from there. And that's why you're seeing yourself go from a playoff team in your first year to just out of the playoffs in the second year, and then almost the worst team in the league in year number 3.
As you know, I know you and Thomas talked in the post-game show on Saturday night. I mean, that was a controversial ending to that game, and I think soccer fans throughout the entire world, I think, saw that. It seems like, it was well known that probably should have not ended in a loss for them. Do you think if they would have tied that game, did that change it at all? Or is this something that you think was planned going into that game?
I think the fact that this comes down the weekend after the transfer window ends, a transfer window where maybe you could argue they didn't do enough. Now, a lot of people, and I have been one of those people who have given Lutz the benefit of the doubt and said he's doing what he can with the budget he's been given. But now, firing him now makes it seem like he didn't do what you expected him to do in this summer transfer window. But he made the second biggest signing in team history in Fallu Fall. The biggest in team history is João Klaus. Not a very big difference. It was like 3.8 to 3.6 million or something along those lines. And you spent another $1 million on Sangbin Jeong. I don't think I expect them to have about $6 million available. It's about what they spent. So I'd be shocked if this is a case where Carolyn and company are mad that he didn't do more with the resources he's been given, because our expectation has always been that for the first few years of this team, he wasn't going to be given a lot of resources, and that appears to be the case. And so for them to pull the trigger like that, I wonder if they didn't think he made enough moves in this summer. But again, I'm in this cyclical thought process of if he has the resources to make the moves in this summer, why wouldn't he make those moves? And then, and therefore, if they're mad at him for not making those moves, none of this, it's not all lining up in my mind. But what is lining up is what the Cardinals didn't do, which is why let the guy who puts you into a bad situation be the guy who has to figure it out? The Cardinals let Mozeliak put themselves in a bad position and then be the guy that figures it out.
Because he had past success.
Exactly. Lutz didn't have that. And so
you had the first year, the expansion year was successful.
And then you fired the coach.
Since then, yeah. And I will say this from an outsider, and you and Grant and you and Thomas can do whatever, shows you guys want to kind of recap all this or break this all down even more. For the serious soccer fan, but as a casual outsider looking in, like the expansion year was awesome. It was, every week it seemed like they won. And then you kind of looked at it and you said, hey, St. Louis loves their soccer. Like we're going to coast off this for a little bit. And you haven't seen, maybe as an aggressive front office, an aggressive team as what could have been to maintain that success for a few years.
Yeah, I don't think they were ever going to be that aggressive. And so I think it kind of cooked people's brains a little bit that they had that success from the get-go. Yeah. And they would expect, well, you had the success, pour the money in. My thought process was always going to be this is an organization that just poured $750 million into the infrastructure of this team. They're probably not going to pour a lot of money in for the first few years. They're going to let things cook. They're going to let the ticket, they're going to let ticket money come in. They're going to let other revenue streams develop, including selling players and for transfer fees. And right now, the only player they've really sold for big money in transfer fees is Nico Gioacchini, and that was for about $2 million, which is why I didn't expect a lot of extra cash injection from Carolyn and the Cavanaugh. I didn't expect a lot of cash injection. But like I said, they pulled the trigger. They decided that Lutz, you got us into this situation, and you don't get the winter to figure it out. I thought they were going to give it to him because there was so much room, and it seemed kind of like a part of the plan where he said, listen, if we don't have success for these first 3 years, I've given out all these deals where we can reset the roster. After the end of 2025, we can pick up some options, but we can then move on, have 7 or 8 spots to have some flexibility. But clearly he didn't give them enough hope or enough of a plan or enough light at the end of the tunnel to say, I can do this, I can build this. And so now they got to go out and get somebody new.
I'm sure the two of you will have, or the three of you and all of you guys will have plenty to discuss as this goes.
Yeah, on. This is going to be interesting. I'm not sure when we're going to get a podcast out. We're going to have to get one out here soon, though. I was supposed to interview a player this week for a podcast. We'll see if that happens. Mekhi Joyner, who finally got his first team contract and played pretty well this past weekend. He's a fun storyline with St. Louis City, and the young players are all playing well. City 2 won their is on a streak of 14 straight games unbeaten, including 12 victories. They're dominating the youth league, but the first team sucks, and you got to figure out a way around that.
You are passionate about this, man. I saw. I mean, I know I saw the other night you were tweeting about the City 2 team. I mean, you were.
I was there because they were home on Sunday. So one of the good things about living in a downtown area that isn't that doesn't generate a lot of cash is that there's free parking on the streets on the weekend. So on a City 2 game when there's not a ton of people downtown, you can park right there on one of those metered spots, a little 5-minute walk to the stadium. Don't got to worry about any parking or anything like that. You know what else you also don't have to worry about? Joe Roderick. That's where you're playing today, because that's with our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, where the crown is yours. Promo code right there on the screen, STL Sports. Check that out, because right now usually this time in St. Louis, it's absolutely just oppressively hot, but it's not right now, Joe. It's actually quite lovely. So instead of saying it's a hot one in St. Louis, this is a perfect way to watch baseball. I'm going to say it's a nice, pleasant one in St. Louis, and nothing beats a pleasant day in St. Louis than relaxing and watching some baseball. And the simplest way to get in on the action when you're watching a little baseball is the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It's crazy simple. You can just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun, and don't even settle for those smaller payouts. You switch to Pick 6, and right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. So just download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code right on your screen, STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. DraftKings, better payouts, better wins only with Pick 6 from our friends DraftKings, where the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Joe, over the weekend, you put out your realignment map. I know a lot of people have been doing this. The schedules are different. Jim Bowden needs to be sent to a gulag somewhere for separating the Cardinals and Cubs. I have no. Only a Cincinnati Reds GM could come up with a way to separate the Cardinals and Cubs out of pure, I don't know, jealousy and spite. I'm not sure what the hell was going on in his brain there. But Joe, you put out your own collection of divisions, and I thought it was pretty solid.
Let me show you first. So this is how I did the workings of it, just to let you see how my mind was working, because we did this last week. And remember, when we talked about this last Monday, I didn't have the telestrator to go and do this live.
You could have, but you were being lazy.
So I just went and I brought up a map. And
thank God you got the telestrator out. I mean, such impeccably. What happened at Houston? What can we talk about what happened down at Houston? You got things got a little wobbly down in Houston. Also, Joe, coloring between the lines. I'm not sure what happened over in Southern California. You got a little bit into the weed. It is Southern California.
Different colors too, man. And, having
Roy G. Biv, you moron.
Yeah,
it's called Roy G. Biv.
Isn't that only 7?
ROYB G. Bit.
Yeah,
it's 7. You're right.
See,
but then you did black. Yeah. Gray is not Roy G. Biv, you son of a. Red, orange. I don't see orange anywhere.
Orange. It's surrounding the southeast region.
That's gold. That's
yellow.
Gold.
I didn't think yellow was going to show up good on show up that well.
Yeah, I know. What's that? What's that team hanging out on the left side of Pennsylvania that I can barely see on the screen? Oh yeah, it's the Pirates.
That's the Pirate. Yeah. So see, yellow didn't show up well on this map, and then I had to think too, like, how do I represent the 2 expansion teams that I throw on here too? So I just found little baseball icons that I put in Nashville. I think that's where Nashville is. And I kind of guessed where.
Wait a second. I don't think you got that right at all. I think Brooke Grimsley would be. You can't do this on Brooke Grimsley's show, my man. Oh, no.
I also kind of guessed where Salt Lake City was.
You didn't check where Nashville was? I think you might have hit. I think you might have put it on. You have it right on the Louisville, right on the Kentucky, Tennessee border. You know what? Okay.
Am I close?
I think you did pretty good.
Okay.
I think you did pretty good
now,
on Nashville.
Salt Lake City. Now, Salt Lake City, how close am I there on that little baseball? Not close at all.
No, you're in the Untaw and Ureg reservation. Yeah. You're in Indian country at that point, my friend. Native American country.
If I put a baseball in the middle of Utah, I mean Salt Lake City.
Yeah, you're on the road up to Provo and Salt Lake City, but you are nowhere near. I believe you're right around Price.
Yeah.
Price in Utah.
So I throw all of this together, and so you have it out there now. You get to see that, and that then gives you, as I take that off, there you go. That's what all of the divisions look like. I named them. I even gave them names.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I even gave the all the division names.
You got really fancy here. I don't think we're allowed to use their logos, but let's do it anyway. So the Metropolitan.
We're not trying to make money.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I mean, it's monetized stream. Metropolitan. I like that. I hate that you're on your little quest for Yankees, Red Sox, Mets, Phillies. I get it.
It'll be fun.
The East. Okay, I like the East because no one there feels like they're going to spend a lot of money and bully the other teams. The Southeast, I think I like that as well. Great Lakes, I love the name. I love the name Great Lakes. That's Great Lakes is the best division name we've gotten in sports over the years. That's
some
fantastic.
People pointing out that the Twins not on the Great Lakes.
I don't care.
Some are pointing out that
Lakes. It's Minnesota. Come
Lakes,
on. I actually think this is really good.
Also, people pointing out that the Rockies are not in the mountain region. as they probably should be.
That is bad. Yeah, you got to change that to.
I did have somebody said I should switch the names of the Central and the Midwest, and I was like, no, like Midwest is west of Central. Like it has the word West in it.
You should go. Oh yeah, you know what?
This is pretty much like the same thing.
This is a good point. The Midwest is kind of a broken. It is kind of a broken terminology here.
Yeah.
I hate
all of these teams though west of the Mississippi.
Here,
middle of the country. Look at that. Middle of the country, west of the Mississippi, Midwest.
Throw your Okay, this. Okay, hold on a second. I hate that the White Sox are in the. I hate having to care about the White Sox. I don't want you to do that to me. Why do we need that? What if we trade the White Sox for the Twins?
I think that'd be okay.
I want to trade the White Sox.
I think that would be okay.
Here's what.
Could you imagine? Just, I mean, you see the drawing, you see the work that I did here.
Yeah.
With that, if I had to somehow circle the White Sox and avoid the could you imagine the cluster that would have looked like?
Also, I also quick thing.
Yeah.
You got the Chicago teams wrong.
What do you mean?
Aren't Chicago? Isn't the White Sox the Southsiders?
This was not so.
You didn't place the logos.
No. If I would have placed the logos, you see the arrow going from the Athletics to Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, you would have
on there.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have immediately put them there.
I need.
Yes.
We need to bully.
I also would have made logos for the other teams. Too.
We need to bully the person who,
correct,
when deciding to put the White Sox and the Cubs together, he put the White Sox on the north side of the Chicago. Like, you have to put the Cubs over on the north side and the White Sox on the south side, obviously. But that's the one switch I would make. I don't care about the White Sox. I don't want to have to care about the White Sox.
SportLeagueMaps.com is responsible for that. SportLeagueMaps.com.
Yeah, they're bad people.
They are the ones that are responsible for that map.
Do you know why I want the switch? Because I think we've let those Minnesotans get away for too long without being called on a regular basis. A bunch of cheaters for the World Series against the Cards in the late 80s, early 90s. And so therefore, I think if that becomes a division thing, we now can bring up every year and mention to the Twins that you cheated to win those World Series. And I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Some people calling this the best realignment that they've ever seen.
Do we have any of those tweets in the system to put up?
I didn't load them up. I could go find them for you if you just go on Instagram or Facebook. Some people are saying
Mrs. Joe Roderick tweeting.
No. Random people that I've never met before in my life just saying this might be the best one I've seen. Some people are saying that.
That's good. That's
yeah.
I think it's solid. I think it's solid, but I think the Athletics is the best I've ever seen. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And this is, again, all you do is just go and look at, again, you go to Instagram, you look, boom, it's right there. It's like one of the very first comments saying that they think it's the best one that they've ever seen.
Joe, I'm proud of you for what you put together. I'll say that right now. I'm proud of you for what you put together. And you know what? I'm proud for our friends who put together a little event out at Norwood Hills Country Club, and that is the Stiefel Charity Classic coming up here in a few weeks. If you're lucky enough to go to that OAR concert, you'll be receiving your tickets this week on your phone. A legendary weekend coming up in St. Louis. Don't miss the Stiefel Charity Classic presented by Compliance Solutions, September 4th through the 7th at the historic Norwood Hills Country Club. Watch the PGA Tour champions tee it up and compete. Here are just some of the names that were at the top of the leaderboard last year with winner Y.E. Yang. You had Bernard Longer, who was duking it out with Y.E. Yang on a playoff hole to win that one. Stuart Sink, Justin Leonard, Chris DeMarco, Darren Clark, and more. Plus, you can enjoy a live performance by music sensation OAR at Friday's Community Concert presented by CarShield. Tickets start at just $20. Kids, military, veterans, and first responders get in free. Get your tickets today at the StiefelCharityClassic.com. That's Stiefel, Stiefel, CharityClassic.com, and we will see you at Norwood Hills September 4th through the 7th. And I want to say, all of us have dads who I'm sure love watching golf on Sundays. And here's why the Stiefel Charity Classic is so perfect. I have a dad who's a diehard golf fan, but doesn't get to play nearly enough golf. And I'm not a good son who takes him out to golf as often as I should. So the one way I make up for that, though, is I do take him to the charity classic. And I took him last year. I'm going to take him again this year because if you have a dad who was ever a golf fan, all the guys he watched when you were a kid in the 90s, when when he told you, stop asking me if I saw you hit that base hit at your Little League game today. We're home now and I have golf to watch. These are the guys that he was watching on those weekends in 1998. And he couldn't see them play at Pebble Beach in 2002, but now he can see them play at Norwood Hills in St. Louis. And I tell you, it was a lot of fun. Posted up on 18 with my dad last year, and just seeing guys like Bernard Longer and Stuart Sink and guys that I remember him talking about when I was 7 years old, sitting at his knee watching these PGA Pro events or these PGA Tour events. I remember him telling me about these golfers. And now we get to watch them together on the Champions Tour down the road, and it's affordable, it's fun, it's a great place out at Norwood Hills. I'm obviously biased to that fact, but jump on to SteveCharityClassic.com, get some tickets, take your dad out for the Sunday. There's a chance maybe you get to see another playoff 18 hole like last year between Bernhard Langer and Wyatt Yang. Again, two guys that my dad's been watching since the 90s, and you got to watch them play in a playoff hole on the 18th, inch away from the actual green. An incredible moment. So get your tickets. It can be a lot of fun out there.
Man, green seats and now up there on the.
Shut up! Don't. No, we're not going to make this. We're not going to do this thing where it's like Rangio he's going to get to all this fun stuff. He has a country club membership.
I thought I was well connected knowing Claves, and yet here Rock is more well connected than me.
You're rude, Joe. You're rude. We didn't get into talk much more Cardinals today, but we'll have plenty of Cardinals. Yeah, there you go. We have plenty of Cardinals coming up later on in the show. We'll have Card Central 365 brought to you today with.
It's Claves and Grant are on it today.
There you get. I mean, come on, guys. We're in a 3 or 4 hour span on this show. You get Howard Richards talking about Mizzou football and the Dallas Cowboys history and Tom Landry, and then you also get Mike Claiborne talking about Cardinals baseball. We're bringing it to you in all different ways. We're breaking down live news as Lutz Pfannenstiel gets let go by STL City SC earlier today. We're breaking it all down at STL Sports. How do you follow us? How do you make sure you see it all? Right there in the bottom corner, just below Joe in that beautiful sweater. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell button so you know whenever we're going live. That way, when we have a show go live because of instant reaction, which we might have coming up here because we instantly reacted to some news in Lutz Pfannenstiel, that's how you know we're going live. Hit the bell button. And of course, do you like what we're bringing you here in St. Louis? Then hit that subscribe button there. Last point I want to make. On a day where Kevin Demoff decided that he was going to take the moral flipping high ground, you wore a Los Angeles Rams jersey to this show, Wilson, and I haven't given you nearly enough crap for it today after the opening of the show, so I'm doing it again. Kevin Demoff, you're a lying piece. I hate you. I hope bad things happen to you in life. I hope you stub your toe today. I hope every time you walk around in socks, there's a puddle of water coming after you. You're a bad person. And Wilson, I'm very mad at you for what you did today with that jersey. On today of all days, with Kevin Demoff virtue signaling on Dev Kleiman, two people who suck. Can't decide who's worse. Can't decide who's more fraudulent, more of a charlatan than either of those people. And you wear a Cooper Kupp jersey into this studio. Let's do better tomorrow, everybody. That's all I got. For Joe Roderick, I'm Matthew Rocchio. This has been the Randy Karraker Show featuring Brooke Grimsley with neither of those people on STL Sports Central. Support the sponsors. Check out DraftKings Sportsbook where the crown is yours. Get that pick six. Get your Cardinals wagers in today on the Pick Six app. If I'm thinking right now, I think Wilson Contreras hits RBIs and singles. That's what I'm feeling today. I'm feeling a good game from Wilson Contreras for the Cardinals. STL Sports Central, Card Central, coming up more. This has been the Randy Karraker Show. For Joe Roderick, I'm Matthew Rocchio. Thanks to everybody out there. You guys killed it in the chat today. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back tomorrow at 10:02 with Randy and Brendan Schaefer.